So the next thing you're going to want to do once you've started to hone in on what you believe is an interesting niche is you're going to want to think about refining your audience. Because with a niche, as I've written here, you have a much more carefully defined audience. You know, it's pretty obvious, right? And the good news is that that audience, every time you have a new product, is going to remain more or less the same, right? Once you've basically figured out, in my example, cooking with gluten-free pasta or whatever, once you have defined using Facebook Audience Insights, for example, once you define that audience, you can turn to it more or less every time. So what I have in Facebook, you can save audiences, by the way, in Facebook Audience Insights if you haven't already seen that before. I have a number of saved audiences, like many of them, which I know when I have a particular product, I will use that audience. I don't have to spend time anymore thinking about, what the audience looks like. I know which ones work. Now, it takes time, clearly, but this is the time to start thinking really about refining it. What is it actually, what is your new audience really going to look like? And one of the things here, this is a great little tip, which I'm happy to share with you. A great way of uncovering hidden audiences is using words like foundation, society, association, club, federation. Now, I talked about buyers and communities, if you remember, in previous lectures. And with these foundation, society, association, etc., you can really uncover some interesting Facebook groups that don't generally get targeted. Now, I've got to be honest, off the top of my head, gluten-free pasta, I'm struggling to find something right there. But you get the idea. These are groups of people on Facebook. They've come together. They've got a common interest. Find those. Use those keywords to find those groups and use them. You'll be amazed at how responsive they'll be and how much you can start selling to them. Now, once you've got that audience, then you can start to do stuff with it. And Facebook has this thing called lookalike audiences. Google it, have a look at it. But basically, the idea is that Facebook takes your audience. So we've got an audience that we're happy with by this stage, right? We spent some time putting it together. We've marketed to it. It works. Now, Facebook can take that audience and it can create lookalike audiences because it has a huge amount of knowledge within its own algorithm. And by the click of a button, you can effectively create lookalike audiences, and you can see whether those audiences are going to work. It's a very, very easy way of expanding out without having to apply a massive amount of thought. I use it quite a lot. It's definitely much better to do your research in the first place and be happy with your audience before you go to this. But it's a nice to have. And the last one that you'll come across is Facebook custom audiences. Now, this one I'm not so keen on, personally. The idea is that you load in a load of email addresses and you can then Facebook will turn around, it will basically market directly to those email addresses, assuming it has them within Facebook to make them match. It's okay, I don't mind doing it that way, but to be honest, I'm going to pay for that. And in the next slide, I feel that my email addresses are much better used in the way I'm going to show you in a moment.